Greetings to you, and today we are going to be talking about the economics behind real estate because I've noticed some patterns when it comes to some people investing. They just invest blindly and they don't understand that there are some economics that is applied when it comes to real estate. You treat real estate like a business. You treat real estate goes beyond you just providing shelter for yourself. Yeah, and then that's the basic of it. But it goes beyond that, especially when you want to go into the commercial aspect of it, the commercialization of it. You treat real estate as a business, not like I just want to build a house and live for my family. So if you know you want to invest in real estate and make profit from it, then you need to watch this to the end. I mean, those that want to build, those that are buying properties because they want to flip it later and make money on it, make return on investment on it, and make cash flow, you need to watch this to the end. And remember to like, subscribe, and share this with someone that is going to be of help too. My name is Zaina Balogun, a real estate consultant and also the founder of Yemna Properties, a leading real estate brokerage in Nigeria, and we are going to be dissecting the economics behind real estate investment in Nigeria. In this video, I'm going to be sharing 7 guides we need to treat as a framework when it comes to real estate investment. They are guides and we need to follow them as we go on. 1 is the basic, the supply and demand foundation. We know that there is limited supply to land. We're not creating more lands. It's not something we can decide to go to the factory and start, producing more of it. So the supply of land is very limited. While the demand is increasing, there is population demand. Demand is growing every day. As population is rising, there is demand for housing, where to live, etc. So we need to understand this. When we understand the art behind the demand and the supply, we treat real estate as a necessity, not as just an aftermath. 2, opportunity cost of a capital. Every naira, every dollar you are putting on a property, you also know you can equivalently put it into something else. So why are you putting it into this property? You need to ask yourself that. If you are asking yourself, there are other things I can use this money to do, but I decide to put it into real estate, you will see real estate beyond just ownership. You will see it as a business and start asking the right question. Will this property give me the necessary return on investment I need? Will this property appreciate fast? Will this property give me cash flow? Am I investing for ROI sake or I'm investing for cash flow? You start asking question, a critical question that smart investor asks. Another is cost structure cost, because your true acquisition cost is not just the cost of the land, the cost of structure, the cost of management, the cost of documents, etc. All these things needs to be put into factors before you can boldly decide, okay, this is what I want to go for, before you can say you have a fully prepared budget. 4th, return on investment. This is the juicy part and this is what most people focused on, and we have 2 major types of return on investment, the ROI and the cash flow return. For a balanced investment, you need to balance the two, both ROI investment and cash flow investment. ROI investment is when you buy and you hold. Typically more you buy land and you hold for a long period of time and you sell it off and you make money from it. Those are the typical examples that you hear. Oh, I bought this land when it was selling for less than 500,000 naira and I'm selling it for over 200 million naira today. Those are examples of ROI investment. But when we talk about cash flow, as we talk, cash is king. This is when you buy, these are mostly buildings. You buy a house or you build house, then you lease it or you rent it out or use it for short let or B&B. The major thing is that you are getting money consistently. You can predict when your money is coming in, so that is cash flow. So for a balanced real estate, you need to have the two, both cash flow and return on investments. So land for future wealth, cash flow properties for daily income. The 5th one is market cycle. Although market cycle is not something that is very too obvious when it comes to real estate investments compared to other form of investments. Other form of investments have when they are low level and they have their peak level, and you can always enter the market when it's low, and you can always auction out when it's at the peak and sell, and get. Real estate is not really like that, but then it is also applicable. What do we mean when we refer to our market cycle? There are some places that land are still very, very affordable. We can call those places they are the low level. So you can buy in bulks, buy in acres, buy in hectares. A typical example is the land banking project and old. Once development is there and this place are already appreciated, it's already at its peak, then you cannot sell it. Some people make the mistake at buying places, a land banking project when it's at the peak. You can't even buy it when it's already at the peak because you might not be able to afford it. For example, a location that is selling for, let's say, 50 million or something million naira per plot. If you are buying more, you're buying maybe 1 acre, unless you have a particular purpose you want to use for. You cannot just key or tie that amount of money into just land. But imagine that location, those people that bought it 20 years ago, 15 years ago, would have imagined the price they have bought it. Those are the low level. But now it's already at the peak. So for you now, you need to find those places that are still at the low end, low level, and key into it. And when it's at the peak, you can sell it off. Makes sense. Another one is to look for, this is a distress. They call it distress sales, but I prefer you buy from a distress buyer rather than a distress sales. When they mean a distress sale is when you're selling a property below the market value. Before you buy, you need to ask some certain questions. I don't want to go in depth about it. Maybe I'll do a video about that in my next video. But let me just quickly round up about it. When a distress sale is out, when you are buying below the market value due to one reason or the other. But when you're buying from a distressed buyer, means the buyer wants money urgently. That's why he wants to sell one of the property. He needs money, not that there is something wrong with the property. Maybe there is a title issue and he just wants to sell it and just make his money. Don't want to lose. So that is the key difference between distressed seller and distressed buyer. Before you buy any distress, you need to look at, is it the distressed seller or the distressed buyer? But mostly they just use the word distress sales as general. So you need to particularly ask which of the distress. Okay, so let's move on. This external economic factor. Real estate is something that is affected by economic activities. Inflation affects real estate. Once there is inflation in the country or in the economy, your price of property keep on going up and it does not come down. So inflation affects the price of real estate. And the last but not the least is the facility management. For example, an investor bought an apartment. Okay, he bought a house and maybe he's not in the country or he's busy with his work and everything. So he bought it and he leased it out for rental purpose, but it was poorly managed, and at the end, within 3 to 5 years, the property is looking old, deteriorates below the market value. If someone wants to buy it, you want to sell that property, they will not weigh your buildings. You'll be like, but his land and his house. No, they will just give you the value of the land. But if your property is well managed and is still looking very good, very strong, and very neat, they'll be like, okay, this is a building on it, let's buy it with the building. So they'll put in the value of the land plus the building. But once your building is looking distressed, is shouting help because of lack of facility management, lack of good proper care, then it is going to affect the value. So before you go on into your next real estate purchase or investment, you need to consider one or two of these, and I hope you learned something new. See you on the next one.